There we are. There we are. Hi, everybody. I waited a couple extra seconds because I noticed the beginning of the show has been clipped off the last couple of times. I've also noticed that for the Agree to Disagree show, when we're on Spotify or Spotify, for some reason it's not uploading videos anymore. I have to upload the raw audio file, the last 3 podcasts. However, we are starting to get some attention on the Unhappy Hour podcast, which is good. We need to get our The Agree to Disagree show numbers up on our podcast, but try to find us. Hello, Kenneth, in the chat room. And for everybody else who is watching us out there live, please leave your comments. We appreciate that about you. We enjoy your commentary. I'm going to type howdy right now. So this is Thursday, October 5th, 2023. My name's Brian Engelman, and that guy is Blake Walley. You need to follow Blake on Twitter, X. He is at TV's Blake Walley, Walley, and thenextlevelnews.com. Blake, with the new outlets that you have, do you have any new outlets you want to promote to people? Say, hey, you got to sign up for DTube and Steam It and wherever else you are.
Well, yeah, I've had 2 of my channels basically destroyed on YouTube. My main channel that I've had forever has got a second strike, so I won't be able to stream there for a while. And then my The Next Level News channel has been completely terminated. So I'm trying to find other alternatives. So we are on DLive TV, Twitch, as well as Kick. That's a brand new one, and hopefully Pilled. Foxhole soon, so that's in the works as well. Yeah, Kenneth B saying Tinder. Yeah, I don't know if they do streaming on Tinder, but we would if we could.
You know what?
Telegram, or who knows?
If we're going to talk about politicians and getting fucked over each day, politicians, the whole political process, getting fucked, maybe we should be on OnlyFans. Maybe the content does cross over into OnlyFans. I don't know. Like, we're getting run out of the legitimate sites with your trusted news like YouTube and Facebook.
What, should we just do like a topless OnlyFans site or our show?
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. Button that shit up. Thank you much. Appreciate that. What are you rocking today? It's a new segment called What is Blake Wearing? This is a 1776 shirt.
Yes.
Looking like a flag. A flag on a flag. It's like meta.
Oh, I can never get backward. All right. USA, baby. All right. Feeling patriotic.
Yeah, we need to set that up. We need to set that up so that we can have a link tree where people can go buy your Liberty themed shirts. A new day, a new shirt. It's a new segment we have here. But yeah, so we're the new American media because the old American media has failed you. We have been covering the news for decades and decades, but officially for about 12 years now. And we try to give attention to stories that are underreported. And we've recognized now that the lying legacy media. And by the way, I did hear, I don't know if it was Elon that said it, but somebody said it. And now Scott Adams has been saying it. He's saying the legacy media. He says that one really stings them. And I'm like, no, you got to add lying legacy media. There's still too much gravitas when you it's legacy. There's something about a legacy. Maybe the Yankees with Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle or something. You think of a legacy. Sometimes that could be good, but lying legacy. Everyone loves a good double alliteration, But yeah, so Scott Adams is picking up on the legacy media. We don't call him mainstream anymore, but we understand that those are really essentially deep state assets that are pushing CIA, NSA, FBI fake talking points. They are framing President Trump. They are framing Julian Assange. They are framing. You go down the laundry list of the stories and the people who we can count on, and the stories and people that we can pretty much assume cannot be trusted. So we're an alternative to that. Please check out at the bottom here for countervailing views. Everybody wants to hear that. CISA.gov if we talk about elections, and cdc.gov/vaccine or who.int. See, they say they want those as countervailing views. We would say we are the countervailing view. So why don't you put a ticker and a disclaimer for us? Our batting average is much higher, but I digress. So on today's show, we're going to cover the following topics. We're going to pose these statements with, maybe these questions rather, and we're going to ask if you agree or disagree. So agree or disagree that we can trust the Biden administration to build the border wall since there's been a backlash. Ooh, building the Biden border wall backlash. There's a lot of B's. There's like a quadruple alliteration in there. So we're going to ask about that. What about this? Google should ban, censor, and hide extremist. If you're listening, and that's audio form only on Spotify, I did the air quotes. But Google should ban, censor, and hide extremist candidates in their searches. Agree or disagree? Governor Gavin Newsom has made the right pick, replacing Dianne Feinstein, who just died, with somebody from the East Coast who doesn't live in California. Huh? We'll ask if you agree or disagree with that decision. Also, the nation should follow California's lead and ban the counting of ballots by hand. Hey, nothing better to completely
don't inject your opinion yet, Brian. All right.
Huh?
So don't inject your opinion yet.
Damn it. I can't help
We
it.
can make this a very quick show. We just tell us exactly how we're going to.
Okay, fine.
Right.
We're also going to it seems like a reasonable plan, Blake. Yeah. I think I would agree that we should follow their lead. Yes, I don't want to give anything away. Yeah. Also, who is the best candidate for speaker? Is that Jim Jordan? Is it Emmer? Is it Scalise? Is it the 5-letter word guy? Starts with a T, rhymes with rump. We're also going to ask if Representative Boebert was paid off by McCarthy to keep him as the speaker. But I do want to start with this one because I am cross-posting today's show.
Whoa. We're starting this whole political news story with a 3-day-old sports story. That's Brian for you. That's all good. Let's start it. Go ahead.
And the reason is because
Brian's a big Trevor Bauer fan. And he's from Cleveland. You can't spend more than 5 minutes with Brian without knowing that he's a Cleveland sports fan.
It's one of the things that I do. And it's an important story. It's
way more important than the Trump speech.
No, we're going to get to Trump. Trump is the number one story, but Trump will be the number one story. It always is. So I got to mix it up a little bit.
All right.
But additionally, what I was saying is that I'm broadcasting this on the Unhappy Hour Twitter feed, the Unhappy Hour YouTube. I don't do that for all of the Agree to Disagree shows. So this is an opportunity for the sports audience to jump in, and we're going to talk about sports in the beginning. I just told you the other topics we're going to cover. If your skin is thick enough, stick around. If not, leave as soon as we're done explaining what happened with Trevor Bauer. Kenneth Yes saying Cleveland rocks, or so he heard. You are correct, sir. But this is a crossover episode, Blake. It's an opportunity to reach out to the masses. But yes, I encourage all of you to stop after the Trevor Bauer story if you have thin skin, or if you cannot handle the truthiness we're about to play tennis with here. So I want to lead with this, Blake. Agree or disagree that the journalists who punished journalists should be punished for their roles in smearing Trevor Bauer?
Yes, I absolutely agree with that. So there has to be some kind of standard set. And I remember, because I never wanted to get into journalism, and that was seemed like one of the reasons why when I was in high school I liked writing, but I thought creative writing was a better outlet for me rather than journalism, because you had to be so accurate and timely, and you didn't want to get sued by getting things wrong. And so it's kind of like, well, wouldn't it be better if I could just make up all the characters in my head and write a book whenever I want, rather than having to deal with all of these rules and regulations and not get sued and all this stuff. So yes, Trevor Bauer, Major League Baseball pitcher, of course, from the Cleveland Indians. Brian can fill you in more, but it seemed like one of the more eccentric, interesting characters in the game. But hooked up with this lady, I don't know if you met her on Instagram, super fan, that basically ruined his life. But she blamed him for sexual assault, and we didn't know. We got to try to, maybe we got to trust the victim. We don't know. And I didn't, because I'm an outside observer. And I thought, wow, he seemed like such a good guy. And that's too bad that he would be involved in this. I hope this isn't true. But it took a couple of years for this story to play out before he could actually even respond to these serious allegations that he was choking her and this and that. like just some rich narcissistic star baseball player in LA, just getting away with whatever he wants. And then he got caught. And but yeah, anyway, and his life turned upside down. Brian, why don't you fill us in with that? Because I don't know. He was suspended. Like, he went through a lot of problems.
Yeah, and yeah, Trevor Bauer, eccentric is a nice way to put it. He was on the Cleveland Indians and he got pulled from a game and he was a little upset by it and he grabbed the ball and he chucked it from the pitcher's mound over center field, over the outfield wall. He just launched it and he was traded from the team pretty much immediately after that. He went to the Cincinnati Reds and he won a Cy Young because he's an incredible pitcher. I knew that this guy, I have an eye for talent. And I did get to meet Trevor Bauer. I got his autograph out in Anaheim at an Indians game. But I have an eye for talent, and I saw his command of the pitches, and I just appreciated his approach to the craft. I think Trevor Bauer, for the past few years, he did a series, and it was like his training regimen, and it was a whole docu-series of his daily life, and it was some of the most compelling baseball content being created by anybody. But he was also calling out the cheating Houston Astros. So if you look at President Trump, who calls out the cheating rhinos or the cheating deep state Democrats, well, they don't take too kindly to it. So, there is this kind of theme where, Andrew, I saw a video. I don't know if you have that one, Blake.
I saw it, but I don't have it on file. No, you'd have to pull that up.
Yeah, I don't even remember where I sent it to you, honestly. If you don't catch the things I toss, I don't know where they're at. But it was like Trevor Bauer called out the powers that be or went after the Matrix, and they got him for sexual assault. And then Julian Assange called out the Matrix, and then they got him for sexual assault. And then Donald Trump called out the Matrix, got called out for sexual assault. Who else am I missing in there? There's
like Tupac and Andrew Tate and few other people. Or Russell Brand, do we say? Yeah.
Oh, Russell Brand too. It's the standard go-to. If you go against the powers that be, you're accused of something. And for some reason, this society has adopted the tragic and antithetical opinion, the antithetical philosophy of guilty until proven innocent. It's the opposite, and it's not exactly the same. It's even further. People say guilty until proven innocent. Innocent until proven guilty is what people say, right? But I don't think that's even the right way to say it. It's innocent unless. If you say innocent until proven guilty, it's like, okay, well, that's inevitable. That is coming down the road. There's an implied finality about it. It's more procedural. But it's innocent unless proven guilty. Trevor Bauer had his two most productive years following his Cy Young win taken from him. Now, he was paid, and I was upset with the Cleveland baseball team that changed their name. Thanks, Tom Hanks. Hey, Tom Hanks, are you on any weird lists? I don't know. We'll talk about that when the time is right. But Tom Hanks, the deep state asset, when he was part of the rebranding of the team, retiring that tired old stereotypical Cleveland Indians and went with this new Guardians name. But anyway, I wanted the Cleveland Indians to sign him. I said, sign him for $100,000 or whatever the league minimum is, $250 or $350. I said, the Dodgers are paying his whole salary, but there was a little bit of bad blood there, but we could have used his arm because he's a Cy Young candidate. Anyway, he ended up in Japan. He's been out of Major League Baseball for 2 years. He's essentially been blacklisted on a fake accusation. So as far as the actual story, Blake, do you have something pulled up that kind of highlights a bit of what came out? Trevor released a video, and you were alluding to this a second ago. Let me double click it here. You were saying that he wasn't allowed to talk about the story, and that kind of reminds you of President Trump being put under a gag order. It's like, hey, no, we're allowed to accuse you of any rotten thing under God's green, under the sun, but you're not allowed to explain that you're innocent. This was another gag order type situation, right?
I guess so. I'm shocked that this was allowed to happen. So they basically, he was suspended and his baseball career basically destroyed. And it ended up being completely false allegations. And the woman's lawyers like held on to evidence that they didn't reveal in the discovery. So corrupt media, and this is out of the Federalist. I don't have the video embedded, but he did speak out against it. Corrupt media declared Trevor Bauer guilty until proven innocent, ruined his life. Case of Trevor Bauer represents a dangerous trend in which America's corrupt press is given the power of judge and jury. So they dragged his mud through the legacy media over frivolous sexual assault allegations for more than 2 years. So as LA Dodgers pitcher Trevor Bauer's legal battle with his accuser has finally been settled. That was Monday. He said, according to Trevor, over the last 2 years, I've been forced to defend my integrity and my reputation in a very public setting, but hopefully this is the last time I have to do so, as I prefer to just remain focused on doing my job, winning baseball games, and entertaining fans around the world. In his video statement, he's happy to finally move on with his life. Entire saga began spring 21. Woman named Lindsay Hill accused Bauer of assaulting her on 2 different occasions at his home in Pasadena, which she began as consensual sexual encounters. But despite his denial of the allegations and the assertion that the encounters were consensual, the Major League Baseball, they suspended him for 324 games.
Unprecedented.
That sounds like a career, but it's actually only 2 seasons.
Yeah, that was a new record. They had never suspended anybody for such an amount of time before.
And like this hasn't happened like 1,000 times prior to this. I mean, there's probably more than 1,000 times of women like this trying to make some score on a rich baseball player.
Or poking a hole in the condom, or taking the condom off, or something. There's many different variations of this predatory behavior.
Yeah, like MLB doesn't know that this is like a routine thing that happens all the time. And rather than give them the benefit of the doubt, rather than get behind one of its assets, they threw him under the bus.
What that reminds me of, Blake? Yeah. That reminds me of little Ronnie D down in Florida. Instead of getting behind President Trump and the fake accusations, he's just going to throw him under the bus and try to jump in where they left off. It is so slimy. It is so slimy to not defend people that are innocent unless proven guilty. And so I guess in this article here, it probably pulls up, or at least it must have some of the quotes about the text messages that she was sending to her friend, right?
Yeah, here it is where she got caught. This was not in the initial release, or this came off later. And she says to one of her friends, next victim, a star pitcher for the Dodgers. I sent to a friend before she even met me. And she's asked her friend, what should I steal? Visiting the house for the first time. The answer was take his money. How might that work? I'm going to go to his house Wednesday. She says she's already got her hooks in. You know how I roll. And then found out his net worth was $51 million. And the friend said, bitch, you better secure that bag. So how was she going to do that? And she said, I need daddy to choke me out, she said, being an absolute whore to try to get in on his $51 million. And that's what she did. She claimed that he basically was into rough sex, choked her out, and she was battered and bruised. But then there was video of her like doing a selfie while she was in bed the next morning, and he was sleeping, and she was clearly smiling, had no evidence of any bruising of any kind. So it was
smirking. I would say it was more of a smirk than a smile.
Yeah, this is a total sociopath that feels no guilt whatsoever. She was,
you know what it reminds me of? It sort of reminds me of the man with the hat at the edge of the boat who's holding up the fish.
I don't know what that.
It's like, here, look what I caught.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like a proud smirk on her face.
Yeah.
Look what I caught right here. Mission accomplished. We did the deed. We banged last night. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was good for her, but later it came back to bite her, and that's good because we deserve to know the truth, which the legacy media has an issue. And this kind of gets back to our question here, whether they should be punished. So equally egregious as Hill's flimsy accusations against Bauer is the willingness of America's regime-approved press to immediately proclaim Bauer as guilty when the allegation dropped. And throughout the ordeal, outlets such as USA Today and Insider eagerly glommed onto Hill's allegations, treating them as gospel and refusing to give Bauer's denial of the accusations the same level of attention. And meanwhile, The Athletic, that's an online sports outlet owned by the New York Times, took their propaganda-level coverage to the next level. While, quote, citing medical records filed by Hill, the website reported that doctors had noted signs of a skull fracture. According to the LA Times, the outlet later clarified that Hill had been initially diagnosed with a skull fracture, but that a fracture had been ruled out by subsequent CT scan. So that's pretty amazing. That the suit, which also named Molly Knight, then staff writer for The Athletic, who issued numerous tweets about the story that included phrases such as cracked skull and fractured skull, was dropped by Bauer in June after The Athletic amended its story and Knight withdrew her posts. So I don't know. I think it's time to sue these people into oblivion. And yes, they are going after. They are using this as a weapon. They went after Brett Kavanaugh. Yeah, as we said, Donald Trump, Russell Brand is the latest target. Did it to Julian Assange. I'm not gonna put Andrew Tate's name in there because I think there's a lot more to that story. Sorry, he doesn't get a pass on this one. But the rest of them have the allegations have been flimsy at best.
We need to normalize innocent unless proven guilty. I don't like this. He's instantly kicked off the football team. He's suspended by the team. Let the process work its way out. An accusation should not derail somebody's entire life. If you go through the whole process and at the end of the day, you've had your chance to defend yourself again, anybody could be next with an accusation. Anybody could point their finger at anyone. And if we don't defend, at first they came for Trevor Bauer, but I don't watch baseball. At first they came for Trevor Bauer, but I'm not a Dodger fan. And then they came for me, and there was nobody left to stick up for me. You know, it's that same classic story. So this is one of the more culturally relevant, significant, important stories that I have covered over the past few years. Having met him, got his autograph, identified a unique talent, watched him ascend to Cy Young level. I was living in Los Angeles. He came out and played for that team. And it was like, okay, I just followed his career and I followed these accusations and all of this stuff coming out. It just makes it so difficult to believe any accusations at this point. Bubba Wallace, Jussie Smollett, you know, the LeBron James. Oh, they painted graffiti, racist graffiti on my garage door. Oh, okay, let's see it. We cleaned it off. No worries. let's just get your videotapes from your security system, and we'll have enough to prosecute. We'll get their faces and everything. My security system wasn't working. Okay, LeBron, you are full of it. So I think it's like this Obama-trained fake narrative, character assassination stuff that is really gained prominence. It's always been going on. But I feel like we've gone over the waterfall with this, Blake. Like all of these accusations, they're starting to pile up. Do you get the same sense that it's Fonzie jumping the shark? There's really no going back. Like this is just so absurd now. It's never going to go back to the way it used to be, with such an easy way to ruin people based on an accusation without facts, evidence, or trial or conviction.
Yeah, we've seen enough of these examples now, and maybe we can try to use this as a positive to make sure this doesn't happen again. And we cannot just jump conclusively to one side until the facts have been played out. But MLB, I mean, there should be some kind of, I don't know, they got to send him some kind of a payment or something. They destroyed this guy's career over BS allegations. They probably knew that internally, and still they would blacklisted him or what have you. So that's got to stop. So maybe they got to sue some of these companies, these outlets, The lawyers, I think he's dropping the charges because she's basically got no money. I mean, those lawyers might even have to be disbarred if they were holding on to this evidence.
They
So I
should
hope
be.
he gets reimbursed in some way.
Just like Fannie Willis, just like Bragg, just like Letitia James, just like these people who are using prosecutorial misconduct to attack the president of the United States or former president, future president, Donald Trump ahead in every poll, in an election of interference case of civil rights abuses. They're trying to take out their political opponent. The people that are pulling these stunts, and here's how we'll wrap this up. There's something that I've been saying for as long as I can remember. And I'm not just saying cases like this. There's a lot of cases for various reasons where people will put out a false accusation. Blake, do you agree or disagree that somebody who's found guilty of perpetrating a hoax to frame somebody for a crime should have to do the same amount of time as the person would have had to serve if they were convicted of that?
Yeah, I'm usually against the idea of, eye for an eye type of stuff, like with the J6 prisoners, but I agree with that. If somebody is maliciously trying to destroy somebody and defame them, and they're trying to put them in away for who knows how long. I just saw a story like that from, I think, Raleigh, Virginia. There was a detective that ruined a bunch of people's lives by planting drugs on them or what have you. Like a serial framing people. There has to be accountability for that. If you're going to put people in jail and destroy their lives, then it should be only fair that happens to you. So you were willing to do it to somebody else, it could be even worse. And they need to make an example of these people so to deter them from doing this kind of thing again. Sorry.
Yeah. And I think the way I posed it to the Unhappy Hour, by the way, find the Unhappy Hour. It's a private sports group on Facebook. We're also on Twitter X at the Unhappy Hour _. Also on YouTube, I think our channel is just called The Unhappy Hour or The Unhappy Hour Sports Show. But I think the way I posed it to my group was, should they have to face double the time? I think I just doubled it. If someone would go away for 10 years for this accusation, you have to face 20. Because it's
like a quarter of your life. It's more than a quarter of your entire. I mean, that's the thing. Is like some of these they dish out these heavy-handed punishments, and it's like, dude, like decades. Like we don't live that long. We live maybe 75 years.
Well, I've never tried to frame somebody in a way that would ruin their entire life either, and I feel like that's one of the worst. That is one of the 10 commandments, even for anyone who isn't very familiar with them. Bearing false witness, that's framing somebody, that's perpetrating a hoax. That's exactly what we're talking about. They're framing somebody, bearing a false witness to something that didn't happen, to ruin them. It's in the top 10 commandments for a reason, just like our Bill of Rights, our Second Amendment right to defend ourselves, our First Amendment right to worship if we want or how we want, and to cover the news and to be journalists. Freedom of the press, that's us. We're citizen journalists. We're no different than any of the lying legacy media. The Fourth Amendment right against illegal search and seizure. I mean, there's a lot of important ones, Blake. In bearing false witness, that's one of the worst things that anybody could do in society. And really, it's what we've seen happening to President Trump this entire the entire time. I'll double click this here. It's something that we've watched happen to President Trump over and over and over again with fake impeachments, hoax after hoax after hoax, and they're relentlessly continuing it. These people need to be punished for civil rights abuses, because that's what this is. These are civil rights abuses, and they're all bullshit. Just hoax after hoax, bearing false witness. So I guess
absolutely.
Let me pivot here.
Can I make a very quick, just let me hit this up because I mentioned it. As the former Raleigh police officer, this is a breaking story. This is from yesterday. He was only sentenced to 38 days in jail for fake drug arrests that targeted black men. Former detective Omar Abdullah. He was arrested in August 22. A string of wrongful drug arrests that took place between 2019 and 2020 framed 23 people over fake heroin deals and conspiring to target black men for arrest. Then he was finally arrested and charged with felony obstruction of justice.
Who is Omar Abdullah? Is he a black guy too? And that's like isn't that a Middle Eastern name?
Yeah. I mean, he's dark skinned, but the point is, yes, he was a dirty cop who ruined a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, I don't care about skin color. I care that somebody's a dirty cop ruining lives.
But I'm saying,
Omar Abdullah, like that sounds like a, I don't know, Middle Eastern or African
I get. But anyway, so it's ridiculous that he was only given 38 days in jail. So that would be the opposite. You would probably think 38 years, but I'm not opposed to. Yeah, they need to make an example out of people.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. In this case as well, how many years are these people facing? Are they 38 years? Okay, this guy should be up for 38 years then. Like, he's trying to steal life from people and cage them. Like, there's nothing more demonic than that. Like, it's so gross. It's the grossest of the gross. Meanwhile, you have journalists being knifed out in the middle of the streets. You're seeing it across the country.
Yeah, well, that guy was like a Antifa guy. Are we talking about the New York stabbing?
2 of them.
Yeah.
There were 2 of them in the past couple days. What was one Philly and one was a shooting, one was a knifing.
Yeah. But there's the policies that they support.
See, but what and it is the policies of, oh, nobody should be arrested, man. Like, it's so evil.
Yeah, defund the police.
No. What I'm saying about jail being evil is for a good person to get framed in a hoax and caged like an animal and taken into a basement somewhere. Like, that's so gross. But there are gross people who are mentally ill and violent, who are killing people on the streets. Like, these people need to be in jail to protect themselves and to protect the general population, because they're so violent, they've forfeited the right to be out and amongst the rest of us. Right. There's no fine line there. It is crystal clear who we're talking about. Don't frame people, keep them out of the worst place ever. Take the worst people ever and put them in that bad place. All the other people that are nonviolent and they just kind of there's a way to handle some of that. But the super crazy, the mentally ill, the super violent, come on, man. Like, you have to throw the book at them. You have to throw the book at them. These cities are collapsing.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Well, let's pivot off of this point and let's get to our number one topic of the day. We're going to talk about the Speaker of the House of America. All right, we are back. Follow Blake on Twitter. He's at TV's Blake Walley and thenextlevelnews.com. Okay, Blake, agree or disagree? Well, I guess you wrote this, so I can't really ask you. Right. Agree or disagree that Jim Jordan would be the best candidate for Speaker? I'll go through a couple of these. Just give me a quick yes or no. Jim Jordan, best candidate.
Maybe.
Emmer. I don't even know Emmer.
He's got a few highlights grilling SEC chair Gary Gensler. He's very pro-crypto. He's a sharp guy. Okay. But I'm going to say not quite, but maybe.
Steve Scalise.
I don't know enough about him. I haven't seen a lot of really good highlights. And that was kind of one of the things I was hoping, if I had the really solid internet and more time and some assistance to, get like some highlight clips of all these guys. The other one I don't have on there is McHenry, but we can actually go over the odds. So keep going.
Yeah, well, you have McHenry. What about McHenry? Is it the best option, best choice, McHenry?
No, but maybe better than McCarthy. Can we say that? Better than McCarthy?
Well, no, because everybody here on this list is better than McCarthy. Anything is better than McCarthy. I can't tell you how many emails and voicemails and how many conversations we had with former Speaker McCarthy's office. He promised to release the J6 tapes. He refused. And I have zero crocodile tears. I have no empathy for this guy. Tucker had access to the footage. He proved 2 massively important things with just 60 seconds of footage. One, Brian Sicknick was not killed that day. That was a narrative that the lying legacy media was pushing nonstop while they parroted this ridiculous phrase, insurrection. That phrase where all of the gun-toting people showed up that day and not a single shot was fired, except for the man of a different race who shot and killed the lady veteran mother from the other side, shot her in the neck and killed her. That was the only shot fired that day. But they tried to say that Trump supporters, based on Trump telling people to go be violent, even though Trump said, peacefully and patriotically, let's go make our voices heard peacefully and patriotically. They kept saying, oh, they killed Brian Sicknick. They killed Officer Sicknick. He was alive and walking around that day. He went home, and then the next day he had, I believe it was a stroke, and he died. But they were conflating these two things. Anything to frame President Trump, anything in their hoax to frame Trump as someone who said, now let's go get him and drag him out here. Do you think, Blake, really quick, before we get, do you think the day would have gone differently had President Trump said, now let's go drag every one of those assholes out here? Like, we're done. Do you feel like the day would have gone differently if directed to violence by President Trump, which never happened?
Like instead of saying peacefully and patriotically, march over, make your whatever. If he would have said, yeah, it's time, guys, we need to, it's us or them. They're in a coup. Pence is going to stab us in the back. This is a waste of time. These people have got to go. Take your country back now. Something like that. Oh my God, with the amount of people there, yeah, they could have just overrun the Capitol, much like they did in, I believe, Sri Lanka, where they showed just waves and waves of just, who knows, tens of thousands of people storming their version of the Capitol, even with, unarmed. Yeah, there have just been overwhelming numbers. It could have easily taken over the Capitol if that's what people were trying to do that day. But that's not what
that's not what happened.
People are there.
That's not what happened. That's not remotely accurate.
That could have been an insurrection. Yeah.
Anybody who argues otherwise is in on the hoax. Nancy Pelosi's in on the hoax. Go down the list. They're probably all in on the hoax. That being said, the other thing that Tucker was able to do, like I said, debunked the Brian Sicknick, Officer Sicknick dying that day, which did not happen. It also showed the shaman praying with the cops, walking around, thank you, politely walking in, doing a thing, opening door, like nothing, just non-violently walking through the people's house. He was released immediately. I think he still has an ankle bracelet on. He was taken out of jail immediately and he was remanded to home. Like, get this guy out of here. How many other people are needlessly suffering because Kevin McCarthy lied to the people and said, oh, yeah, we'll release the footage. This is footage that could potentially exonerate scores of peaceful people who have been caught up as political prisoners in this hoax that's been perpetrated, Blake. So Speaker McCarthy getting kicked out, man, you had it coming. Trying to placate us, just trying to kick the can down the road like we're going to forget. How dare you? It's dereliction of duty on your part to not defend the Republican frontrunner for 2024 against all of this fake, all of this illusionary crisis that was created by Pelosi and the Capitol security turning down the National Guard, Ray Epps opening gates, everything that happened, all of the undercover activities that day. Speaker McCarthy failed America. I am so glad he's gone, Blake.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he basically gave all our money to Ukraine, and he let us down as far as releasing the J6 footage. I just wanted to put this out there. Oh, this is Mike. I thought this was one of your unhappy hour people. According to Mike, says Trump wants to abolish the Constitution, and there are right-wingers who still support him. Boy, have times changed. Mike, can you give us any example of how he wants to abolish the Constitution?
I'm all ears.
I would love to hear this comes from. It's just like a talking point. Well, hey, somebody at MSNBC said it, or I saw some paid Democratic influencer say it on Twitter, so therefore it must be true. Can you give us an example, please? And so is he saying,
Also, how did you find us today, Blake? Are you from Mike? How did you find us today? Are you from the unhappy hour, or are you like which way are you jumping in today? Because we're streaming to various places.
Was this the same? I think we had the same mic, right, from a few weeks ago. That was
yeah. He comes in hot. Did you losers not see all the
damage they did at the Capitol? Would that look like a violent insurrection? Like, what if everybody was armed and they came in there? Would you see that? Where was all the big damage done? Yeah, some of the windows were smashed. I don't support any of that stuff.
No, it was a mostly peaceful protest, Blake. It was a mostly peaceful protest that got a little out of hand. And then, as Ilhan Omar said, then some people did some things. How many of them were feds? How many of them were actual Trump supporters?
Right. And, we were there. Do you remember anybody chanting for death to Mike Pence? Those were just gigantic crowds. And I don't remember anything. Remember any of that happening? Maybe Mike was there too. Or is he just parroting propaganda? So it looks like.
No, I might have heard some stuff about Pence. People were not happy with Pence.
But do you remember, was there like chanting, like death to Pence?
There was palpable anger toward Pence, and I heard several things.
Yeah, a lot of people never really liked him, but I don't remember any like chants like they were going to do something like that. So
it was maybe more like
a few, out of hundreds of thousands of people. Like maybe there was some isolated group somewhere that said something.
And you know what I'd love to know, Blake? Were those people like Ray Epps? Were those normal people, or were those the feds? Were they out there as an asset, trying to play the role so they could get, who's actually waving that stupid flag? You have 100,000 American flags, and you see 3 stupid flags flying through the rest of the crowd. You're like,
right. It's always some asshole with a Confederate flag or whatever. And then they always say, oh, see, that's all the Trump supporters. Like, no, it's just some random asshole. There's hundreds of thousands of people, and we can't label everybody because of one person. But that was quite the event. But hey, Mike, we were actually there. So I don't think you were. So you just saw a couple of videos. You don't know what you're talking about, buddy.
All right, so back to the best candidate here. I'm thrilled that McCarthy's gone. He earned it, is what I was getting at. The long story short, short story long rather. He definitely earned it, and he's not going to be seeking another appointment, which I'm very happy about. But now it's like, okay, so what's going to happen? How does the process work? They just put Trump in, they nominate him. You don't even have to be in Congress. You can just nominate anybody.
I guess so. That's what we didn't cover that Tuesday because, I wasn't quite sure if that was possible. And it has not happened to my knowledge ever. But it is eligible to happen. They were talking about that on Hannity. It's been covered. They're going to say, he can't. He's ineligible because he was involved in an insurrection as per, the 14th Amendment. But that's not true. So he's eligible to become speaker. And I just said, is there a good reason not to have him as speaker? But we're looking at the Vegas odds, and we will run this video clip from President Trump. He did sound off on that. We've kind of got some like Vegas odds on this from bookies.com. Apparently they're taking action on it.
Yeah, of course. So, if you can bet on it, people will bet on it.
Yeah, you can find some offshore account somewhere. So you got McHenry, Scalise, Emmer. I don't know Graves or Cole or Hudson or Adrian Smith. I do know, of course, Jim Jordan is one of the front runners. As far as I'm concerned, I think Donald Trump, the media circus, I just think that would be just too amazing for the news cycle to pass up on that opportunity. Donald Trump, I'm surprised they're giving plus 5,000. That's enormous odds. So I would I'd be happy to throw $100 on that. I think it's only a 2% chance that he wins. I don't know how they can mark him that low, but they counted them all, out throughout the entire 2016 election too. They didn't think he would get, very far even in his own primary. So no, I love those odds. I don't know enough about Scalise. I haven't seen enough from Scalise or Emmer. So to me, it's really Jim Jordan. Patrick McHenry.
Well, tell us what McHenry did, because McHenry did some boss shit. He came in and in the first 5 minutes it seemed like, he got to work. He hit some obvious singles. If they're pulling a shift and they're giving it up to you, just pop it to the other side raise the batting average a bit. These were great moves from him.
Right. And there was another, just even like a week ago where he was also grilling Gary Gensler, the SEC, for not approving the Bitcoin ETF, just roasted them. It was glorious. So there are some moments. He's a principled constitutionalist, but a lot of people think he's still kind of a neocon. I'm not entirely sure if I trust him, but he's.
What did you make of the velocity with which he swung the hammer?
That was a little over the top, but it was still interesting. It's good.
Do you have that clip there by chance?
I do not.
It's not playable?
I'll be able to run it, but if you want to pull that one up, I probably got it somewhere on my Twitter feed, or maybe you've got it. You can pull that up. But one of the other highlights, of course, is that he ordered Nancy Pelosi to vacate her Capitol hideaway office, like the Speaker's office. I guess McCarthy was too nice to kick her out of it, let her keep it. And McHenry said, no, done, you're gone. And it was even more ruthless, as they're saying in this article, because she wasn't even in D.C. She was in California with the Senator Dianne Feinstein's funeral. So I guess, well, not that she was needed to be there. Not like she was going to help lift out the cases of wine or whatever she's got stuff in her office there. It was going to be, that's one of the Babylon Bee things. The staffers got crushed by the wine bottles. But yeah, there it is. So they're moving her out. So that's pretty cool. So he gets big points for that.
But it wasn't just Pelosi. He kicked somebody else out too, right?
That I'm not 100%.
I think there was a second one. By the way, here, let me pull up the. Well, this is at least it kind of.
There was some pushback from the. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it jumps right to it here. There was pushback from who? Sorry, I got to double click.
I was going to say a couple of neocons, Newt Gingrich and Mark Levin, freaking out about that the speaker was taken down, but it was a necessary thing. And again, it's two issues for me, most importantly, and that's just he would not release the J6 tapes, and he kept giving money to Ukraine. We're done with this war. We don't want anything to do with it.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Patrick McHenry.
Let's watch it one more time. Yeah, I was trying to find one that has the build-up. He says what he says, and then he slams it, but this is just the slam.
Yeah.
Patrick McHenry.
Yeah.
Slamming the gavel with what appeared to be all of the energy in his body. You were in the room. I wonder if he felt.
The only thing that I would have done differently is flung it in the direction of one person. Look, he absolutely epitomized the frustrations of the conference and the American people. This is not what they elected us to do,
really?
To squabble, to fight amongst ourselves. They elected us to govern. And
was that person
so
from Florida you're suggesting?
Oh, yeah, I would have hit him square between the eyes. But look.
Oh, the tough guy. Wow.
We need to get back to the business.
Tough guy.
The American people.
Yeah.
Right between the eyes. Here it is again. Here's that. Again.
Gangsta.
Yeah. Patrick McHenry.
Yeah. So there you have it. Right between the eyes. Ooh.
So is
Mike
he referencing
Lawler.
Gates there? I guess I'm not 100%, but it's amazing. They were quite upset about this. In fact, they went out of their way. I just found another article. I got a few of them from some of the pushback, just even within their own house there. Let's see. Newt Gingrich. Yeah, Newt Gingrich was fired up, calling for the anti-Republican Matt Gaetz to be booted from the House GOP conference.
I'll double click that. Good.
Oops. Oh, yeah. Thank you. So that was one. Then we had other neocon here, Mark Levin. I'm going to have to share that screen again.
Mark Levin.
Who was very angry. Says, let's cut to the chase. And then he just puts a wall, basically like a chapter of a book out, which I'm not going to read. But basically, Gates is a POS, piece of shit demagogue who reportedly lied, blah, blah, blah. So, I realize there's the House looks like it's in disarray or blah, blah, blah. But again, if he's not doing the J6 stuff, I mean, Mark Levin is more than happy to give all our money to Ukraine as well. So he doesn't really count. But there's another one. This other House GOP guy, they were putting out stories, allegations. They're giving him like the Madison Cawthorn treatment. They're trying to destroy Gates because they're upset with him, talking about how third party had heard that he somehow had bragged about how he would crush like Viagra and chase it with energy drinks so we could have sex all night. So here we run this.
You got to think about this guy. This is a guy that the media didn't give a time of day to after he was accused of sleeping with an underage girl. And there's a reason why no one in the conference came and defended him.
And those allegations were false.
Because we had all seen the videos he was showing on the House floor that all of us had walked away of the girls that he had slept with. He'd brag about how he would crush ED medicine and chase it with an energy drink so he could go all night. This is obviously before you got married. And so when that accusation came out, no one defended him, and then no one on the media would give him a time of the day. All of a sudden he found fame because he opposed the Speaker of the House back in November, and he's always stayed there. And he was never going to leave until he got this last moment of fame by going after a motion to vacate.
It's important to know Congressman Gates has never been charged with any sex trafficking crime, and he gave this statement to CNN in response. I don't think Mark Wayne Mullen and I have said 20 words to each other on the House floor. This is a lie from someone who doesn't know me and who is coping with the death of the political career of his friend Kevin. Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers. Oh, that's okay. That's kind of funny. Thoughts and prayers. He's really stepping up. He's kind of stepping into that Trumpian role. You know, Trump is not a young man, and you need to have people in your bullpen. You only have a couple starting pitchers, one ace. All right, well, who's next man up if you need it? But I did mention this a second ago, Blake, about interim GOP speaker ordering Pelosi and Steny Hoyer out of office. So I wanted to mention the Steny Hoyer thing here. Pelosi blasted it as a sharp departure from tradition. Yes, thank you. That's exactly the point. It's a sharp departure from tradition. Thank God. Okay, but where's the Steny Hoyer part? Well, anyway, Steny Hoyer as well. So, Hoyer's office confirmed to Axios he was also ordered to vacate his Capitol office. It was less flashy as the Pelosi opportunity that was chosen, you know, by McHenry. It's a good move, I think. But Dreamer Ultra saying that Democrats should have left McCarthy in there. He was carrying their water. I mean, that's hard to argue as well, right?
Yeah, he's kind of on their side. He's just kind of part of the uniparty. He does talk a big game. There's certain things that I like, but at the end of the day, he's backstabbing Snake, so he had to go. They held him. There was rules of him being the speaker. He was on a tight leash. He knew it, and you can't just let him get away with that. You have to do something. And these people work for us. They don't work for the Washington and their own little bubble there. So they're always defending themselves, and they have their own rules, and they do what they want, and they don't have to be accountable to the promises they kept. So good on Gates. So I think this is great. And the best part to me is it opens up the possibility of a Donald Trump actually coming in as the number 3 for the presidency, as the speaker, to be able to to go on the offense, if you will. And as far as I know, it is absolutely plausible. So let's pull this up again.
And
I might have to set up.
I'll double click this for you, but
I
was just going to add before we get into this one that I think dereliction of duty is such a high crime and misdemeanor at the southern border. Remember, Kamala was appointed to be the southern border czar. You remember that?
Oh yeah, she still is.
Okay, well, guess what? She has her fingerprints all over this intentional invasion. I could see an easy path to impeaching both of them simultaneously and quickly for this. Now, would it clear the Senate? Maybe that's a different story, but, it's a story worth talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So if hypothetically, if Trump got in and the 25th Amendmented Biden, or if they impeached him and he had to step down and Kamala was rendered ineligible, then that would set it up for Trump to take the presidency just like that, based on Gates vacating this speaker. So
why would Kamala be rendered ineligible? What's that part though?
I don't think she's eligible because of her birth, or is she's a naturalized enough citizen. There's something that could disqualify her. I don't want to get caught in the weeds on this one, but I don't know if she's.
I think dereliction of duty at the border is all.
Well, that's fine too. She's not. She shouldn't be there. So it wouldn't take much, and then we would be left leaderless. We can't have her running the show. So she's obviously proven herself incompetent and unable to handle a job like that. So they kind of have to hide her. So they're not going to be able to hide her if she's named president. So let's talk about 45th President Trump here on his thoughts about the House Speaker race.
Who should be Speaker?
Who should be Speaker?
Who should be Speaker, Mr. President?
A lot of people have been calling me about Speaker.
A lot of people
says we'll do whatever's best for the country and for the Republican Party. Would you take a job? Great people.
Marjorie Taylor.
We have some great people. Would you take a job? A lot of people have asked me about it. I'm focused. We're leading. I don't know you. I'm sure you don't read too much in the papers. So we're leading by like 50 points for president. My focus is totally on that. If I can help them during the process, I would do it. But we have some great people in the Republican Party that could do a great job as Speaker. Well, what about
Marjorie Taylor Greene called for you to be Speaker yesterday. Did you accept?
I think she's a wonderful woman, Marjorie. A lot of other people are called for that, too. I'll do whatever it is to help, but my total focus is being president and, quite honestly, making America great again, because we are living in a country in decline. This is a country that's failing badly.
I'm just going to leave it there. Yes, we are failing badly. This Biden administration has been awful. We're destroying the economy. Yes, we got the open border. We're funding a horrible proxy war in Ukraine. That's been very costly. He's clearly incompetent. Has been it's embarrassing this country around the world with Biden bumbling and stumbling. He's clearly a puppet president. He's throwing through a radical agenda, and yes, it's been all downhill since Trump left. So I really like this, and yes,
now
it's
not to
offensive,
not to throw a wrench in here too abruptly, but this has come up several times that somebody can't be Speaker if they've been indicted. But once again, this kind of goes back to what I said in the beginning. We're innocent unless proven guilty. This backward guilt thing is done. That doesn't ring true to me. I don't know if that is an actual provision. I've seen it more than once. Blake, I'm sure you've heard this as well.
Right, because if it's completely frivolous, then does that count as an actual indictment? I think that was written when the people actually had like integrity. Like, was he actually indicted for a serious crime, or are they just trying to dig up whatever they can to destroy his campaign?
Yeah, and Kenneth is saying he's not sure that's true, and that was my reply. I've gotten into a couple conversations and a couple of threads today about that, and it's like, I don't know. I don't recognize fake accusations anymore. I don't know what the legal code says, but as a society, we need to put our foot down on this immediately, sternly, unequivocally. Am I saying the right word there?
Sure.
Yeah, just there's a line in the sand. Accusations don't mean somebody has to be prohibited from life. You shouldn't be kicked off YouTube. You shouldn't be prohibited from working. You shouldn't be prohibited from Speaker of the House. You shouldn't be kicked out of baseball. You shouldn't be. Go down the list. I don't like that. I don't like that immediate guilt just because somebody pointed their finger and yelled, "It's a witch." Didn't we learn this, Blake? Didn't we go through the Salem witch trials, and we're like, wow, it's so barbaric. How could society ever be so stupid? We got to vow to be better than that witch. We're still doing it.
Yeah. That's a good point, Brian. I know. We think of that's like backwards, wacky religious people from the old Puritan days or what have you. But there's a lot of people that are, thrilled to see, innocent J6 people, rotting away in a gulag. It's amazing. And they would do it so much more. I mean, they would love to, they wanted to force everybody to take a jab. I won't go into any further because I know.
Anyway, but yeah, and
that.
maybe somebody was technically on the Capitol grounds during a time that they didn't have authorized, but fine. If you want to slap somebody on the wrist, put them in your database, get the fingerprint and the mug shot, you release them. These are nonviolent people that didn't do anything. There's people that crossed a line, and those people should be given a slap on the wrist. Tell me, where are the nationwide manhunts for people that burned American cities down during the Democrat deep state lying legacy media fueled race wars of 2020, all to oust Donald Trump? Where are the people nationwide going after everybody on those cameras that weren't smart enough to wear their bandana and their mouth diaper? I mean, come on. The Kamala Harris could be impeached for that. She was involved with the money, the money. I mean, I guess it's laundering, but the raising of the funds. She was out there cheerleading defense funds to get violent rioters immediately bailed out or cash bailed out, to get them out of jail, make sure that no repercussions befell upon these innocent people that were just, they were peacefully protesting, and then things got a little out of hand. So, yeah, I mean, guilty, innocent, or where's the slap on the wrist versus being held in a gulag as a political prisoner. It's not even close. And just the fact that McCarthy refused to participate in that process, it proves that he's in on it. It's really disgusting. It's really disappointing. It was such a no-brainer to go ahead and release that footage so we could see what actually happened that day. We saw Pelosi framing Trump. We saw that whole J6 unselect committee run their kangaroo court, and then they deleted all their own evidence. You know why? Because most of the evidence proves stuff that would implicate them. So anyway, what's this? What do you got here? More Trump?
Yeah, it's just a tweet that I put out the other night, just saying, nominate Trump for Speaker of the House. Is there a good reason why not? In my opinion, I think we should take this reality show to the next level. And if he's up for it, I mean, there are people against this. Let's say Thomas Massey, who we both kind of like most of the time, is Trump was vehemently
kind of like most of the time. Yes,
right.
That's fair.
So he was vehemently opposed to even having a recorded vote in the House on a $2 trillion CARES Act. He supported Pelosi's attempt to pass it by unanimous consent without a quorum present. This disqualifies him from being speaker. So very bold statement. So that's, Tom, that's just like your opinion, man, as to quote Lebowski. But
I love that scene.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are negatives on Trump. He's not a perfect man by any means, but I think this is just too awesome to pass up on this opportunity. I definitely want to see.
You got to go for it. It's sitting there. It's wide open.
Imagine the news cycle. Right.
I mean, do it. It's your moment in time. Look at this picture.
Why not?
This is a meme somebody sent Trump, President Trump, on Truth Social. Oh, did I double click it? I didn't double click it. Do I need to? Or did it pull up? Oh, here we go. Double click. Sorry, that was supposed to be there 5-10 seconds ago. So they
oh yeah, Speaker of the House. Next State of the Union address.
I mean, and it's Trump just bloviating, sticking out his tongue, making gesticulations with his hands. But it's absurd because it's silly. It's absurd because it's funny. It's absurd because it could happen, and it's absurd because this would match the energy that Pelosi brought to the table. Pelosi's the one that started this shit. Like as far as acting like that back there, can you remember anybody sitting behind the president acting a fool like she did, ripping up the Trump speech, doing stuff like that? Can you remember that from anyone breaking decorum that way?
No. So
I don't remember it
yeah.
either. So if it took Trump to be up there for the next State of the Union, how glorious would that be? So I get
Absolutely.
such a kick out of this. But to our new viewer, like Ashton. Hello, Ashton. Make sure you're following the New American Media on Twitter X. We are at American_media_ because we're seeking truth, challenging dogma, and having fun. We discuss sports to spirituality, comedy to Congress, and freedom to firearms. Blake, of course, is at TV's Blake Walley, at TV's Blake Walley, and thenextlevelnews.com. So, okay. Well, that's all I have on that one, Blake. Do you have any more to discuss on your side?
Why don't we? Yeah, I'll just do a few real quick ones. Am I in the?
What time do we have you till today, by the way?
I got about 30 minutes, 35 maybe. Let's try to find a couple other notes on this real quick. I thought this was interesting. One of our great listeners, Larry, sending me this. Boebert is a sellout. This was pretty interesting. Laura Loomer was breaking the story that Lauren Boebert, I think this is also in our stack, but we might as well just throw it in now.
Well, here, let me pull it up. By the way, is that Larry the trucker? Same Larry?
No, it is not.
Another Larry. We got multiple Larrys. Okay.
Yeah, I got a lot of Larrys. We love our Larrys. But anyways, an exclusive from Laura Loomer that Boebert has been bought off by Speaker McCarthy and has protect the House 2024 fund in exchange for never supporting a motion to vacate. So we've kind of speculate what's going on with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Why is she cozying up to McCarthy? And then we're seeing Boebert maybe doing the same thing. So Laura Loomer, I'm sorry, the investigative journalist who worked with Breitbart, she says she has, and James O'Keefe, saying she has examined FEC records that show McCarthy gave her $95,000 plus in March, 2 months after Boebert voted against him. And then 3 months later in June, McCarthy gave Boebert another $31,000. I'm told these funds were given to Boebert by McCarthy's Protect the House fund under the condition that she never support a motion to vacate against McCarthy. So she's also in communication with some of her associates who has provided her with evidence of more shady campaign finance activity she's engaged in. Boebert doesn't want you to know she was paid off by McCarthy to do a 180. Because we were wondering, why would she vote against this? And she's, usually supportive of Matt Gaetz. So there's just, I'm not even blaming her. That's a lot of money if she wants it. It's sad that this is what Washington is. And this is how things happen. Now, I know Laura Loomer, she put out a few of these things, and I think one of them got the community notes. This one has not. So I'm just going to assume that this is probably true. We do know that there's way too much money going to the federal government, and they divvy this stuff up depending on how people vote, or they might give you the Madison Cawthorn treatment, or as you saw them try to smear Gaetz or what have you to try to ruin your career if they can't buy you off. But I don't know if 100% of this is true, but we need to know these things.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with Laura's work, but occasionally I see some claims being made without sources or linking to an article that clearly identifies here's the who, what, where, when, and this is what I think is the why based on what we have so far. I see a lot of intuition. I see a lot of dot connecting. I don't know that the stories are as confirmed as I would be comfortable, repeating them as such. But that's what countervailing views are. We are the countervailing views to the lying legacy media. And a lot of it is, we're not reporting speculation as fact. We're reporting speculation as what people are speculating. And let's take a look and dig into it and find out what we know. Oh, Trevor Bauer has been accused of something. Let's take a look into it. And when we looked into it immediately, we found that a lot of the story wasn't adding up and a lot of the story was completely exonerating Bauer from the beginning. So that was kind of the operating procedure that we kind of set up base camp at about 2 years ago. and all the information that we've seen has pretty much vindicated that. So I don't know with Laura if she's on to it, if it's accurate, if there is enough of the factual information backing it up. Is it speculation? Is it 100% fact? I don't know. I don't know how you determine it through the bank records that she took money for that purpose. I don't know if that's knowable. It feels like speculation, but it's what we all need to be looking into. I liked when they started booing Matt Gaetz. I don't know if you probably don't have that clip in front of you, but he was up there calling them out for the money that they are taking and going to your lobbyist dinners, and they booed him. He goes, boo yourselves. It was great. Or boo to you, or, oh, don't boo me. You're the ones doing it. I mean, it's just, I like the energy. I like the chaotic energy there because the status quo is not working for me.
Right. No, absolutely. And I do appreciate what Laura Loomer does. She's a very aggressive investigative journalist, and she's going from the school of Breitbart and James O'Keefe. And so, I don't agree with everything. And then she does get some stuff wrong, but she is out there trying. And this is one thing that did get community notes, was when she was saying she's been looking at Kevin McCarthy's money transfers. Did you know Kevin McCarthy has transferred $1.8 million from the Protect the House 2024 to his own personal re-election fund? And then she did get the community notes on this one. So it's a joint fundraising committee that handles contributions for both Kevin McCarthy and Lauren Boebert. But can he distribute that how he wants? Did she? So it paints a pretty good picture here of that. It looks like she was potentially bribed. That's a very good explanation to decide why didn't she support this, her buddy Gaetz, to get rid of the speaker. And it's because there's a lot of money involved. So I think she's onto something here, because the other one did not get the community notes that we just covered. So. I don't know.
What are the chances? I've heard this too, like, oh geez, Pelosi's cooking something up. You better be careful. Now the Democrats might seize control with Haywood Jeffries. What's his name? Malcolm Jeffries. Haywood
Hakeem, yeah.
Hakeem Jeffries. There we go.
Right.
Is there a chance that something like that could happen, that they opened up Pandora's box? Now the Democrats are going to seize control of both houses?
I don't know. And yes, we get into that kind of speculation from you've mentioned this too. We're trying to figure out what's going on. We hidden sources in the White House. We have to be careful with stuff like that, because there is a possibility that Mike Pence colluded with Nancy Pelosi on the impeachments of Trump. That's where he says, my source. We don't know what that is, and I don't know who the Trumpertarian is or if it's legit, so we can't take it too seriously, but it is plausible. And most of us thought Mike Pence was bad from the get-go. And so it's saying on the first impeachment, what is now being called the Pence-Pelosi plan involved Pence providing damning info on Trump in exchange for Pelosi supporting him to stay on as the new president once Trump was impeached. It was the ultimate quid pro quo and deal with the devil. Pelosi and Pence were in close contact during Trump's entire presidency, and it's why Pence was more than happy to do her bidding on January 6th. So it kind of reminds me of, LBJ taking control as president and going into war with Vietnam if they could just get Jack Kennedy out of the way. So maybe it's something like that. Maybe it's BS. I think it's very possible, but it's also possible that this story and the source is totally BS too.
We give it as much credence as we give the first Trevor Bauer accusation. You take it in and you look into it. You say, all right, well, let me take a look into this. Someone's, you know what, on the surface, I could see how some of that could happen in theory. It's plausible. I don't know if it's possible or likely or guaranteed to be true, but it makes as much sense as anything else. So I'm going to look into it, and that's the stage where a lot of this is as countervailing news sources. We're trying to connect dots, but we just have to be careful when we're reporting things as, this is some of the speculation that's out there. We're looking into it and keep looking into it. That's it. Like that's a far cry from trying to ruin somebody completely. But it also, if it matches up with what we generally believe anyway, it's easier to give stuff like that a pass. But yeah, I Oh yeah, thank you for putting that up.
Yeah, we're more trolling from Mike. Apparently, he knows. Why doesn't Mike start his own show if he's so knowledgeable about all this stuff? Oh, we're just typical Trump supporters. Ha ha. Thankfully, there aren't enough morons like yourself to make a difference. It's pathetic, dude. Come on, step it up. You can do better than that.
Well, instead of wasting our energy on Mike, we'll just say hi to Ashlyn. Our show popped up on their YouTube feed, and she's in Washington State.
And I welcome the countervailing views from the leftists, but do something better than that. This is weak stuff.
Yeah, bring some information, make some good points,
real substance. Yeah, and show some credibility. Don't just parrot the crap I see already on Twitter. So show some originality. In your opinions. Thank you.
Dreamer Ultra says, if that happens, both houses, it will only be because Republicans allow it, much like many things they allow to happen. I'm talking about if Hakeem Jeffries or somebody could end up stealing the House, and who knows? How many Republican traitors do you have there? Oh, I bet you got way too many. I think the Uniparty is alive and well, which is why they hated Trump. But anyhow, moving on, we got a few more stories we want to get to here. Blake, do you agree or disagree that it's time for the FBI to crack down on MAGA supporters for the 2024 election?
I am going to disagree.
Oh, you don't want to crack down on the MAGA supporters.
Shocker. Although I'm sure Mike would agree with that.
Yeah, probably. Yes. Yep.
So it's time for, but this is what's happening. And it's interesting. There was a new video, I guess, put out by Dinesh D'Souza and Dan Bongino. We'll get to that.
They worked together on that project on the what's it called? Deep State or
what is it called? It's called Police State.
Police
State. That'll be coming up, but this is happening right now. I got a few articles here. One from the Federalist, where the FBI is targeting Trump voters as domestic terrorists ahead of the 2024 election. So never mind the Antifa fascists who put on masks and assault people and loot and vandalize buildings and burn down cities, masked terrorists. They're okay. They'll ignore that. But let's go after the Americana Trump supporters. So it's amazing how this country has changed. So less than a year before Americans will begin casting their votes in 2024 election, FBI is singling out supporters of Republican frontrunner, former President Trump, as domestic terrorists. This is a report from Newsweek. Are we rolling? I keep forgetting to do that double click.
I double-clicked it,
So thank you, Brian. So here it is, exclusive. Donald Trump followers targeted by FBI. It's the election. This is even out of Newsweek. They believe the threat of violence and any major civil disturbances is so great that it has quietly created a new category of extremists that it seeks to track and counter. That would be Donald Trump's army of MAGA followers. So the challenge for the Federal Bureau, as the primary federal agency with law enforcement, is to pursue and prevent what it calls domestic terrorism without direct reference to political parties or affiliations, even though the vast majority of its current anti-government investigations are of Trump supporters. So, and it's sad. The FBI is in an almost impossible position, according to an official who requested anonymity, so they don't destroy his career. The official said the FBI is intent on stopping domestic terrorism and any potential repeat of the January 6th attack on the Capitol. So, but they also must preserve the constitutional right of all Americans to campaign, speak freely, and protest the government. We've got one more. So after ignoring the violent BLM riots, FBI targeting Trump supporters for breaking anti-riot laws. So they are gearing this all up. They have to make this push to make it sound like Trump supporters are domestic extremists, and they must vote for one of the uniparty candidates. And interesting to note that also on this same day is when, actually this is from a few days ago, when Dinesh D'Souza launched the official trailer for Police State. Maybe I can try to run this. And Elon Musk reposted it and saying the FBI needs a thorough reform. Absolutely. I think they've really lost their way. As Dinesh is saying, they're trying to, going at the Orwellian indoctrination in schools, the media, the criminal targeting of supposed dissidents and party rivals, political prisoners. It's very something they do in fascist countries. Well, let's try to run some of this preview.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
Chief Division Counsel and DOJ have approved a no-knock breach. We want the subject to be on display, doing the walk of shame, full visual impact. Any questions?
Are we becoming a police state?
Government told American citizens they couldn't go to church on Sunday.
I've never seen anything like it. It may be the Russia other people grew up in, but not my America.
FBI warrant, come to the door now!
There's a heavy banging at my door. Open up! There's 15 marked units on my property. I got SWAT in the back of my house.
They took a battering ram to my door.
6 a.m., I hear boom, 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 and hear about 6 to 8 military-style soldiers, with the tallest one of them pointing an automatic rifle at my head. FBI, we have an arrest warrant!
Shock you out of sleep, drag you out of your house half clothed, refuse to give you a warrant, ransack your house.
Now I'm facing 15 years in federal prison
for doing nothing other than exercising my right to free speech.
I had no reason to be attacked.
I hope that you remember Matt's name and the role you played in killing him.
How did we give the state this kind of power? 9/11 changed everything.
We're going to expand the Bureau from law enforcement to domestic intelligence. Legal shackles are now off.
It used to be Islamic terrorism. That threat has kind of dissipated.
Our focus is shifting.
They're moving to domestic extremism. It really paints anybody who's right of center.
What we need is a person to look at. And then we go find out what crime you did.
If you're a pro-life, pro-family Catholic, they define you as radical.
The demand for domestic terrorism vastly outstrips the supply. When candidate Trump came down the escalators, the government had a meltdown.
We are going to drain the swamp.
We'll see about that.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
So I just wanted to pause there. Like,
leave it there.
The Patriot Act.
Should we back it up?
I mean, it's just he's. I mean, blink once if you're under duress, man. Like, he's a part of it, and he's unleashing it on them. Like, he was attacked, and in order to spare him, he sold his soul. What's that?
Oh, he takes such a pleasure in it too. Look at him.
Yeah, he's Mr. Burns.
Yeah, he knows he's on that side too. Gonna go after all the people that have.
He's eyeballs deep in muddy water, as Maynard James Keenan said.
That is a look of an evil man. I'm not a religious guy, but if that was demonic possession, it wouldn't surprise me.
Is this the end of this clip? We got more.
The Patriot Act and FISA were used against Donald Trump.
Google literally rewrote their news algorithm based upon what Trump was doing so that they could get this guy.
You just take out the word Russiagate and you put in COVID origins. You take out COVID origins and you put in Hunter Biden's laptop. You take that out and you put in January 6th. It's the replicated play from the deep state and their partners in the media.
They're not just deplatforming you. They are trying to throw people in prison.
If they're coming for me, they're coming for you.
Hands on your head! These are anti-government.
We have freedom of religion and freedom of speech!
Violent extremists, and they must be dealt with. We can do anything we want.
Police State. Exclusively in theaters, October 23rd and 25th. Tickets sold only on policestatefilm.net.
Okay. Well, congrats, Dinesh D'Souza. Another powerful film in the works.
When is that out?
Soon, October 27th or 23rd and 25th in theaters. The virtual premiere will be on October 27th.
And remember to go to cisa.gov/rumor control because they have a monopoly on the information of what they think you should consider as accurate information. I don't know if that ties directly into this next story, Blake, or if you had anything lingering as connective tissue between them, but we're talking about banning and censoring. Do you agree or disagree that Google should ban, censor, and hide extremist candidates in their searches?
Of course.
No,
not here
you
in
mean like
America.
Zelensky's doing, where he's banning other political parties?
Yeah, good point. That's
Hey,
exactly.
is it kind of like how Justin Trudeau is banning podcasts in Canada?
Oh yeah, that's pretty.
That's a story we need to cover.
Yeah, that was. I think it was kind of over the weekend, so it kind of fell through the cracks. We didn't take a crack at it. It would have been an interesting story. That's just a total tyranny up there. I don't know if they. I mean, they would try to get away with that here if they can. Of course, they have pulled certain people off of Apple. They've delisted, demonetized. They do get away with some of that stuff here as well. But it's a alarming precedent, and it should not happen in America, where we are supposed to celebrate free speech and differences of opinion and have civil discourse. But here we go.
I did pull up a quick article on that if we wanted to circle back to it, but go ahead with yours.
Okay, just real quick, because that's all I've got out of natural news. Google's already rigging the 2024 election by making Republican candidates and RFK Jr. invisible in search results. So the right-leaning Media Research Center has produced a report showing that tech giant Google is already manipulating the outcome of the 2024 election by burying search results for Republican candidates and Democrat-turned-independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So, tests conducted by MRC and Just the News suggest that the online visibility of GOP's 2024 presidential lineup is basically zero. Same with RFK Jr., who plan to switch from Democrat to independent. So, isn't that election interference?
Yeah, wasn't that a thing that we were supposed to fight vehemently against? Or is it it's just when Republicans have had enough?
Yeah, right.
It's one-sided.
Yeah, as long as you're, a deep state candidate and you're one of the picked in the uniparty, it's all good. But if you're anything else, they will try to manipulate the algorithms and prevent you from being searched. They did a lot of this stuff. They've been getting away with this for many years. So, but then how are they saying, people are involved in election interference, but they themselves are actually perpetrating this stuff? So it's not fair. And when I use Google, I don't use Google. I use Start Page. But even then, all I'm getting is like the Google results. But all the publications are all extreme left wing.
Yeah.
If you get to the top, it's all Washington Post, New York Times, CNN.
What do they call those? Reliable, or they call them credible, reliable? What word?
Reliable sources with Brian Stelter, your favorite show, with Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, it's exactly what YouTube did to independent content creators like us. It was the PewDiePie joke that he made, and they turned it into the ad apocalypse. They wanted to make sure that NBC Universal, ABC, ESPN, Disney, they wanted to make sure that the big dogs were getting their clicks, and they wanted to bury our content because people were tuning them out because they're liars, and we don't want to be fed lies from bullshit artists. And so people were tuning out, and they said, no, we have to tip the scales. We have to make it impossible for you to find their content so that the big dogs can keep their place at the table. And that's still what they're doing, unfortunately.
Yeah, looks like it. So more of the same. And Google, of course, runs YouTube, and they've censored, banned all their political opposition, including us. We're basically limping on one channel now.
Now I'm singing "Band on the Run" because these people in the chat room. Thank you so much for that. Also here, this is just Justin Trudeau is trying to crush free speech with his new podcast rules, says Elon Musk. This is out of the Toronto Sun. It says Elon Musk blasted the Justin Trudeau government on Sunday for its shameful decision to regulate streaming services that offer podcasts in Canada. Trudeau's trying to crush free speech in Canada. The owner gotta close this. The owner of X posted on his social media site in a reply to journalist Glenn Greenwald. Shameful. By the way, Blake, who does Glenn Greenwald remind you of when you listen to him talk? He sounds just like somebody. I'm wondering if I'm the only one that hears it.
Perhaps. I don't know where you're going with that.
He sounds like Quentin Tarantino.
Huh.
Play them back to back.
Yeah.
They have a way that they deliver their maybe I'll try to get an impression going, but anyway, so yeah, Elon Musk is really calling them out. Glenn Greenwald says the Canadian government armed with, and by the way, Glenn Greenwald's show, what's it called? I can see it.
I'll have to pull it up, but he does a show exclusively on Rumble. Yes.
Yeah, and it's good. I enjoy it. I think it's good. He's one of the people you should occasionally be listening to. But he says the Canadian government, armed with one of the world's most repressive online censorship schemes, announces that all online streaming services that offer podcasts must formally register with the government to permit regulatory controls. This is insanity. The CRTC takes a major step forward to modernize Canada's broadcasting framework. So Greenwald is the co-founder of The Intercept. He said in his post to X that Canada is now armed with one of the world's most repressive online censorship schemes. Thank you for making me read that twice. The two were responding to changes announced on Friday by the Canadian Radio, Television, and Telecommunications Commission, which plans to modernize it as in their framework and ensure online streaming services make meaningful contributions to Canadian and Indigenous content. Among these changes are requiring certain streaming services to provide information about their activities and setting conditions for streaming services to operate in Canada, including powerful details about their content and subscribership. So, yeah, this is going on. Our neighbors to the north have been overthrown. They have lost their ability to defend themselves with pistols. They have lost their equivalent to the Second Amendment is gone because of Justin Trudeau. Their equivalent to the First Amendment right to freedom of speech and freedom of the press is now gone. Our neighbors to the north have been overthrown. I don't know how else to say it, and I don't know how to get out of it. But this is a globalist actor up there. And you got to imagine that the people that are against freedom and liberty are not your friends at this point.
Yeah, definitely. So just a quick note, Glenn Greenwald's show is called System Update.
Thank you. System Update.
And
it's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I quoted him the other day about this, where he pulls this tweet out. Yeah, the Canadian government, armed with one of the world's most repressive online censorship schemes, announces all online streaming services that offer podcasts must formally register with the government to permit regulatory controls. And then that's when I wrote Justin Trudeau making his father proud. And by father, I'm referring to Fidel Castro. That absolutely 99.9% chance that Fidel Castro is as crazy as it sounds, is his biological father.
And I don't know if this is, I just assume that every single subject is going to be a hot button subject. So go to cisa.gov/rumor control if you don't want to consider that Justin Trudeau's father could be Fidel Castro. But cisa.gov/rumor control. Do that, because that's the countervailing view to what
there are undeniable. There are pictures.
9% certain.
They can say that, but there are pictures of Fidel Castro and Justin Trudeau's mom, and she's holding his arm. They have that meme out, find a girl that looks at you the way that Justin Trudeau's mom looks at Fidel Castro. It is undeniable. There was a connection. They hung out multiple times. There's in those swinging 60s. And if you look at the pictures of Trudeau's supposed father and Fidel Castro, and look at Justin, it's a dead ringer. There is no doubt he is the illegitimate son of the communist dictator, and that explains his basically his political agenda as well as being tied up with the World Economic Forum.
And if you would like countervailing views to that, go to cisa.gov/rumor control, because I bet they disagree. But Dreamer will settle it for us. Dreamer Ultra says, hold on, Blake. I'll check Google and see what they say. All right. So he's going to check it for us. Get back to us, Dreamer Ultra. I
If you
appreciate
can find
that.
anything, you might have to go to DuckDuckGo because
Yes.
you'll have to go through 5 or 6 pages of Google search results to find some of the alternative media sources.
All right, Blake, maybe the number one story in the country that's been buried at the bottom of our lightning round. Agree or disagree that we can trust the Biden administration to build the border wall after backlash? Build the border wall after backlash. See, there's like a nice drum. Like words have a rhythm to them. I love that part of writing and music.
Absolutely. Someone is going to pull up a quick tweet here from Mike Davis, who's saying Biden let in enough future Democrat voters to permanently change U.S. elections. So many that even wealthy white liberals in deep blue enclaves like New York City are being overrun and angered. So now Biden is going to pretend he's tough on immigration. It's a tactical retreat before election. And that's quote tweeting the New York Post, who's saying that the Biden administration is reversing course and clearing a way for new border wall by waiving environmental laws. And then I will carry that over to the Federalist, which is right here in a major reversal. Biden administration now seeks to build Trump's border wall. I think they sold off a lot of parts, liquidated it. But President Joe Biden's White House,
5 cents on the dollar.
yeah.
5%.
So I guess they're going to scrap up a few parts and maybe patch something in Mexico where there's a lot of people coming through.
Mm-hmm.
So President Biden's White House repeatedly insists that the invasion at the U.S. southern border is not a crisis, but they just waived 26 federal laws this week so that it can resume the construction of former President Donald Trump's border wall and curb the millions. It's at least 6 or 7, as far as I know, of illegal migrants inundating border officials. So mere weeks after the Department of Defense was caught quietly auctioning off millions of dollars of barrier parts, Biden's Department of Homeland Security announced plans to rebuild a portion of the fortification separating U.S. and Mexico. It's about 17 miles in the Rio Grande Valley, I guess, where many of the crossings occur. So there it is. They're going to make some effort due to all of the backlash. But I don't take them at their word for anything at this point. So maybe they'll put a little piece of wall up there. But will that deter everybody? I doubt it. Do they want to bring these people in? Yeah, it appears that way.
Pizza wall.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is just such a scam. It's such a scam. 3 years of just wide openness and then
Pretending like it wasn't a problem.
You're not.
Yeah.
Pretend that everything's okay. How are we getting those people back to where they came from?
Maybe they show up in court in a few years and maybe then they decide they're going to send them back. I can't see that really happening much. So they know they basically got a open invitation to come here and claim, refugee status or asylum or what have you. And they'll be clogged in that system for so many years. They're never going to find them. And
if I walk into Disneyland and if I hop the fence, if I don't have the wristband on, I'm escorted out. I have no right to be where I just jumped into. I open up the back door of a movie theater and I sneak in, but I don't have my ticket stub. I don't have a right to see that movie. I jump onto the train as the door is closing, but I didn't buy a ticket. I don't have a coin. I don't have a receipt. I have no right to ride that train. I didn't participate in the proper process to participate there. This isn't rocket science here. Like there's a way to do things and there's a way to not do things. I'm just astonished that they're actually going to try to build some of this. Now it's absurd to believe anything coming from any of these people. It's just impossible. Let me ask you this. Did this topic blend into our previous conversation about declaring mainstream media as terrorist organizations? That's been an overarching theme to the entire show. But did we actually reference the exact story this was supposed to reference?
No, let me find it. I didn't.
In a way, this really might be the theme of today's show about declaring but it's not mainstream.
I got it. The only reason I didn't repost it is because you have a typo there where it said perhaps instead of perhaps. But
who cares?
I got
typo away.
I know. See, now if you were a a paid subscriber, if you were supporting the free speech platform, you could edit that. You'd have up to an hour to change that.
Oh, good grief.
All right. But anyway, yes, you sent me this earlier. It's interesting. I don't know because I can't translate this. Obviously, I don't speak Serbian or whatever. Is it Croatian, Yugoslavian? I'm not familiar with the language. So we've been fooled on these things before, but this could absolutely be true. As a Croatian, was the president? I'm not sure. Mislav Kolaksevic in the he's in the EU Parliament. Says to return to normal human values, it is necessary that CNN, Reuters, the AP, Deutsche Welle, some good German outlet, and similar media fanatics and media Taliban be declared terrorist organizations because of the enormous amount of fake news and hate that they spread. So it's pretty ballsy to go into the EU Parliament and say this. So I'm not 100% sure if it's true or not, although there is no community notes, so it could be this could be accurate. So we can run it, but we're not going to be able to understand the language.
Mediji I istina. Za povratak normalnim ljudskim vrijednostima nužno je da se CNN, Reuters, Associated Press, Deutsche Welle I slični medijski fanatici I talibani proglase terorističkim organizacijama. Tijekom takozvanih pandemija I forsiranih ratova.
Yeah, pandemics, forced wars. He's absolutely right on, and I can only assume. We'll just assume it's true. And
yeah, if the words underneath them do not match what they appear to be, there's a Tool song where they read a recipe to make chocolate chip cake cookies or something, but it's read in German and it's really angry and it sounds like there's a crowd in the background. It sounds like a speech, like an angry political speech.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm listening to this. I'm like, well, let's hope that what's underneath this is what it actually means. What if it's saying something terrible? But yeah, it's just saying that the media is the enemy of the people, and President Trump has said the same exact thing. And it's time that we call out these people are traitors. They're traitors to the country. They are doing this for political gain. They're framing innocent people. They're trying to get away with bloody murder, literal and figurative. Theft of our coffers and everything important. So, okay. So you were scared to tweet it because there was one typo, Blake. Then go to the original source and retweet it.
Well, here it says, perhaps. Yeah. Anyway, it's not a big deal, but it is interesting. So
we just had one more double subject. I don't know if we have you for 2 minutes to talk about California.
Oh yeah. I got about a minute. So yeah, we'll have to.
All right, Governor Gavin Newsom, Blake. He made the right decision, replacing dead Dianne Feinstein with Laphonza Butler.
I am going to disagree with this because this is bizarre.
So strange.
Feinstein, the senator, long time, decades fixture in California there. He replaced her with a wealthy black lesbian from Maryland. So I don't care if she's black. I don't care if she's a lesbian. But what out of the most massive state in the country, you couldn't find somebody qualified there?
I don't care that she's wealthy. I just care that she's not from the state that she's supposed to represent. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
This is the one thing you can't do. He did the one thing you're not supposed to do. It's supposed to be somebody to represent you from politics are supposed to be local politics. That's how you hold people accountable if they're doing bad things. Very accountable. Local, very replaceable.
Yeah, absolutely. That's should be key. It's just like they're messing with us. I just don't get it.
Seriously.
So he's keeping true to his promise to replace the next Senate seat with the black woman, regardless of qualifications or lack thereof. He's commemorating the recent death of Feinstein with Laphonza Butler, a black lesbian who worked as a senior advisor to Kamala Harris's failed 2020 presidential campaign. So I guess modern America seems to worship at the altar of LGBT. She is also not a resident of California, but rather lives in Maryland because, hey, why not? American politics is a clown circus after all. So, yeah.
Well, sticking with California on your way out the door, Blake, because we know you got to go. Also with California, do you agree that the nation should follow California's lead and stop counting ballots by hand?
No, this is another one that's completely insane. This is something like straight out of Castro. This is something out of a banana republic. They want to change the vote. So California Governor Newsom here also signed a bill. He's been very busy lately, signing a bill banning hand counting of ballots in most elections. So the bill ensures that no California voter will be disenfranchised by the actions and decisions of so-called ill-informed political actors. So this is October 4th, signed a bill, banned hand counts in nearly all elections in California, drawing opposition from at least one county. He signed Assembly Bill 969, authored by fellow Democrat Gail Pellerin. The bill took effect immediately, and the bill forbids any election officials from performing a manual vote count in an irregular election with more than 1,000 registered voters or a regular election with more than 5,000 voters. So
we need to get back to counting ballots by
hand.
Yeah,
exactly. It's
if there's no accountability system where we have full access to all the algorithms, we're the only ones that run it, no software updates, all the accusations that have been made. I don't do you,
I got to run, unfortunately, Brian. It's been a pleasure. Thank you all. Look forward to doing it again next week, but it is my time to go. Take care. Peace out. Thank you.
Deuces. Follow Blake on Twitter. He's at TV's Blake Walley, Walley, and thenextlevelnews.com. What was I saying about that? Yeah, I think we need to just count by hand. You put the boxes together, you get 1,000 per box, and you have one side. You got to do it. The inability for the average person to be able to double check the validity of an election, it's been exposed as a major weakness, a point of contention, a point of concern, a place where the American people no longer have faith. And you look, there are more people who have concerns and don't feel comfortable and confident in the end result of the process than ever before. Right now, more are concerned about it and don't believe it's being done properly than people that are comfortable with it. Various polls will tell you different things, but that's what we're seeing. Paper ballots. That's the way that you can just go back. Yeah, paper's wasteful and blah, blah, blah. But to the average person, you don't know how to do a recount. You know how to pull out a box of 1,000. All right, you double check it again. Here, you take 10 people, everybody takes 100. You tally it up, you put your name on it, you see how many, you check it, you double check it, you put it back in. If there's a dispute, then there's at least a way to double check and go back. This signature, lack of signature verification and mailing things in, it is, that's, I don't need an extra step between me and toast, said Mitch Hedberg about Pepperidge Farm bread. You unwrap it and it still ain't unwrapped. And it still ain't open. You don't need any extra opportunity for potential fraud. Keep it local, keep it simple. You vote in your gymnasium, your tallies are tallied. They're right there. They're checkable. They're double checkable. And you hold them for the proper amount of time and you don't delete anything on the computer system. You don't upload anything from the computer system. You don't hack into anything on the computer system. We're supposed to have some sort of trust, and that has been blown apart. So California trying to ban the one way that you could obviously have a double check. That's a dog whistle. That's a canary in the coal mine. They're doing that for a reason. And I'll bet you if you had in-person voting, one day in-person voting, counting it by hand, yeah, it'll take a while, but not really. If you have people, everything's on camera. You got a Republican and a Democrat and an independent. All three have to sign off on everybody gets a 100 stack of papers. You know, everybody gets 33 or 34. Then you just slide it around. You put your initials on, you check it. I mean, you count it as it's happening. And so as each box is filling up, you're getting your accurate count. And if there's ever a concern, you can always go back and check those numbers. They're in that box. They're done. That's the way to run an election where you can check on the outcome to see if it matches the true will of the people or not. I suspect California could come out very differently, some other places as well, if the vote was done differently. I just want accuracy, and I don't like a system that I don't have a full understanding in how to check, what's the Ronald Reagan quote? Trust but verify. By the way, visit cisa.gov/rumor control because they have information about elections, and you should consider that. I think we are the countervailing views to their official opinion, but, tomato, potato, I suppose. So anyway, special thanks to Blake. Please make sure you're following us in all the places. If you've stumbled across us on YouTube today, we need you now to go on your computer, go on your phone, pull up Rumble. Rumble is the YouTube alternative. I believe it's rumble.com/The New American Media. Search The New American Media or the Agree to Disagree Show and subscribe to that channel. We need you there for the day that our YouTube account will no longer allow us to broadcast. We found each other once. Don't disappear on us. Also follow us on X. We are at American_media_. If you go to Spotify, you can subscribe to our podcast, and I encourage you to do so. We need to boost these numbers here. New to this world, but we're out there. The Agree to Disagree Show. Also, the sports show is called The Unhappy Hour Sports Show. So today's program, I led with sports to make it a crossover episode, if you will. Also, Instagram.com/The New American Media or Instagram.com/The Unhappy Hour. We're on Odyssey, ODYSEE. That is our backup to everything that goes on YouTube. It's all backed up on Odyssey. So you can find our banned video that they did not want us discussing about Hawaii. They said that there's medical misinformation in there, but we talk about countervailing views. We ask you to go to cisa.gov/rumor control. We ask you to go to cdc.com, cdc.com/vaccine. We ask you to go to who.int. cdc.gov, all these places. Go do your own countervailing view research. Never believe us. Do your own work. But we encourage you to follow us in all of these places. On Telegram, we're TNAM and TNAM Chat, TNAM for The New American Media, TNAM and TNAM Chat. On Facebook, we are TNAM's The Agree to Disagree Show. It's a private group. You can join. Yeah, we're all over. We're trying to get all over the place. And we're just trying to cover the news as accurately as possible. No agenda, no bribes. We're just calling it as we see it. So we want to thank you for watching today. Please click subscribe. Please click your notification bells. All of that jazz. Special thanks to Blake Walley. Special thanks to new listener, Ashton. Ashlyn. Wait, Ashton. Yes, Ashton. Great show. Cool. Hope you follow us in the future. Kenneth B., the Rumble in the Jungle. Yes, sir. We will see you guys soon. Kenneth, everybody, Dreamer. Yeah, I guess our next show is going to be Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. But in between, I might do some more content these days. I think I want to do some more quick hits, more shorts. So just stay connected. If you like what you hear, there's going to be plenty more of it. And if you go backward into our archive, we have 12 years of content, millions of views, thousands of subscribers, good times. Go back. Let some of the ads play in the background. Go back. That would be your homework assignment should you choose to accept it. How about that? I'll leave you with this. Maybe you could consider going on YouTube or Odyssey for The New American Media, and you clicked on some older shows where I had different guests on covering different subjects, and maybe just let it play in the background. I mean, some of our shows are an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours long. I mean, hell, check out the interview, the chat that I had with Anomaly. That's a good one. I don't know why there's not a shitload of views on that. Really doesn't make any sense to me. It's an interesting chat you might enjoy, but 12 years of content. We do sports, we do music, we do politics. There's a little bit of something for everybody. So, yes, until next time, and be sure to hit that 100 button or that heart button over there on, what is this, YouTube? Or the confetti. Give the algorithm some attention to show that you are participating in the process here. Yeah, we will be back I appreciate every one of you for watching. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care.